to Sunrise Daily. We're coming to you live from Abuja, where the NESG will be holding their 22nd summit. Well, we're focusing on the arrest of judges by the DSS, and we're joined this morning by Mr. Okoi, Obono-Obla, who is the Special Assistant to the President on Prosecution in the Federal Ministry of Justice. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Good morning.
Well, there's been several reactions, even up until this morning, as we've seen in the dailies about this particular arrest. But one of the many questions out there is many don't seem to understand. Yes. How is this arrest, assuming they are guilty of the charges, the function of the DSS, having looked through the Establishment Act of the security agencies?
These arrests are unprecedented. So Nigerians are amazed, they are surprised, they are confounded. It has never happened. But this is a regime that says we want to change the way of doing things. This is a reformist regime, so Nigerians should expect more of this. In other jurisdictions, for instance, the United States, that is a bastion of constitutional and liberal democracy, judges are arrested by FBI, and the equivalent of FBI in Nigeria is the DSS or SSS. In UK, judges are arrested. In Italy, recently, 16 judges were arrested for money laundering, and the police in Italy recovered 1 billion euros. So in other jurisdictions, judges are arrested. Judges do not have immunity. Judges are just like any other person in the country.
We'll come to that part.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I don't think that's in dispute, whether or not judges can be arrested.
Anybody who says...
I think if you let me comment there, I think...
let me answer the question first.
Because Chamberlain was talking about dispute. I think that there's some kind of area of dispute there. It would seem as if that is a mischaracterization of what is happening. For those who have done careful study of what obtains in the US, the FBI is not the same as the DSS. No. Let me break it down, because the FBI can't be the equivalent, because the FBI is under the Department of Justice, the DOJ, which I'm sure you know, and is headed by the Attorney General, and its duties are quite different from what we have with the DSS. The DSS is not under the Department of Justice in Nigeria.
The FBI is not under the Department of Justice.
No, the FBI is under the DOJ.
Just like in Nigeria, some of the agencies are under the supervision of the Office of Attorney General. Impliedly, the DSS is under the supervision of the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation, because by Section 150 sub 1 is the chief law officer of the country. The Attorney General of the Federation is the chief law officer of the country, and the DSS is a law enforcement agency. That is why we give directives. The Office of the Attorney General give directives to DSS, to the Nigerian Police, to ICPC, to Code of Conduct Bureau, to EFCC, to Nigerian Customs, Nigerian Immigration Service, and National Agency for Trafficking in Persons, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. All these agencies are under the supervision of the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation.
You give directive or advice?
They give directive and advice, yes.
I haven't seen that.
You will know, because you're not an insider. I'm an insider.
No, I go by the books. I go by the books, and if I haven't seen that, and if you look at Section 2, 3, and 4 of the Nigerian Security Agencies Act,
let me talk on that.
I'm coming. It really doesn't show anything, and I have also come to realize that the DSS has no jurisdiction to investigate corruption cases.
No, I disagree with you.
That is why it would be misleading.
Let me go on.
I'll let you go.
Let me educate you.
I'll let you go on. That is why it would be misleading for anyone to say that the DSS is the equivalent of the FBI.
You are absolutely wrong. If you look at Section 2, 3A of the National Security Agencies Act, read it. The DSS is responsible for the prevention and detection of any crime against the internal security of Nigeria. Any crime. It includes corruption, money laundering, penal code, criminal code, perversion of justice. That's what they are accusing them of. So any crime is so broad. Any crime against the internal security of Nigeria. If a judge corrects bribe, to pervert the course of justice. It is a threat to national interest and security of Nigeria.
So why do we have
that is why in Nigeria today there is a propensity for impunity and lawlessness. People taking laws into their hands, because if you go to court, you will not judge, you will not have justice except you possess justice. So you are not right to say that the DSS cannot investigate corruption. We have many cases in court investigated by DSS on corruption. One former national security advisor is standing trial. I am involved in that matter, and that matter was investigated by EFCC. It borders on corruption.
EFCC, not the DSS.
No, DSS. So DSS has the power to investigate corruption, to prevent and detect any crime against the internal security of Nigeria. And so, that is what FBI does.
I'm not comfortable with that, because I have an understanding of the DOJ. I am not a lawyer, yes. But I know that is quite a mischaracterization when it comes to that. I don't agree with you. In moving ahead,
DSS also gather domestic intelligence. Yes, just like the FBI.
And you just said that it's under the Attorney General of the Federation, but it's not in our statute books, because we never saw that.
If you look at section,
when we assume it's quite different from what is in the books.
Look at section 2(3)(d) of the National Security Justice Act, and then look at section 150 sub 1 of the 1979 Constitution. That is the fundamental law, the grown norm. The Attorney General is the chief law officer, is the chief legal advisor to the president, is the chief legal advisor to all the federal government ministries, agencies, extra ministerial departments. They come there for legal advice.
Did you say section 2(3)(d)? Where is that?
2 sub 3(d). Is that a law?
Is it of the National Security Agencies Act?
Yes.
Because what we see here, we've got section 3, which states the clear functions of the state security services.
2(3)(d), isn't that the LC?
It's 3 we're seeing here, which outlines the functions of the SSS, which talks about, it has A, B, and C.
I have gone beyond that. I have told you that the Constitution is the fundamental law of the country.
This is a financial crime. And you're saying that the DSS has that?
Yes, the DSS can investigate financial crime. They can investigate economic crimes. They can investigate terrorism, oil bunkering, pipeline vandalism. They can investigate any crime. Look at the law now. Any crime.
Even though we don't see it.
It is so broad. No, look at it. Prevention and detection of any crime against the internal security of Nigeria.
That's 3A.
That's what I'm saying. I've mentioned that. 3A. 2(3)(a).
Yeah, detection of any crime against the internal security of Nigeria, not financial crime. Does it
any crime? You better look at the dictionary. Look at the dictionary meaning of any crime.
Okay, now moving on with this one. The DSS in their release did say that they invited the persons, but they didn't go further to explain whether or not they honored their invitation or tried to evade to warrant them getting search warrants to go to 5 states. Could you tell us then, what is the procedure? If you get a search warrant, do you get a search warrant from a state and execute it in 5 states?
Is that what happened in this case? You have to be specific so that I can answer your question. Because some of the justices were arrested in Abuja.
Yeah.
I understand one was arrested in Gombe or Bauchi, and they made an attempt to arrest one that was unlawfully obstructed by a state governor who is supposed to know better, a lawyer, obstructing law enforcement agencies from carrying out their lawful duties.
I'm asking.
Yes.
What is the procedure? If you get a search warrant to arrest persons in, say, FCT Abuja, can you execute the self-same?
Look, the Administration of Criminal Justice Act applies only in the Federal Capital Territory. So maybe those DSS agents who went to Bauchi or Gombe or River State, they did the rightful thing. They went and got the order authorized by the court or the Justice of Peace, because you can be authorized by a judge or a magistrate magistrate or a justice of peace. So I will not want to speculate, but I know that some of the justices were arrested in Benin, in Abuja, and the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 applies in the Federal Capital Territory. You
say that the DSS usually gets correspondence or communication or order or instructions from the Attorney General.
Advice.
And
let me give you, for instance, some of the petitions were sent to the Attorney General of the Federation.
About this case?
Yes, and the Attorney General does not investigate. He does not have an investigative department. So those petitions were directed to DSS and National Security Advisors and the police.
So how come you don't know if they got proper search warrant to execute in 5 states?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. That is a decision of the DSS. They have a discretion to do whatever they want. After the Attorney General forwarded these petitions against these justices and judges to the DSS because they bordered on corruption and money laundering. It is not a matter within the internal control of the National Judicial Council, as some people want us to believe. The National Judicial Council is just like the Police Service Commission. It's just like the Federal Civil Service Commission. If you report a judge for misconduct, they will look into the matter and discipline the judge. But if it is a crime, it goes beyond them. They cannot delve, or dabble into crime. And these petitions borders on serious crimes of money laundering, as we have seen. Whose source of money found in homes of judges? What are they doing? What are they doing with all this? Where did they get this money from? We know their earnings.
Mr. Obla, if I may come in at this point, there are concerns in terms of how this administration is going about prosecuting the war against corruption. There are concerns that, for instance, this was done in a Gestapo. That's a word that quite a number of lawyers have used. A Gestapo-like manner.
I don't agree with them.
They have also said that that this administration seems to be doing things outside the confines of the rule of law.
Let them cite any provisions of the Constitution we have violated.
And it looks like, in certain instances, they say that, the administration has blatantly refused to carry out, some rulings given by some courts.
Which ruling?
You talked about being involved in the case of a former national security advisor.
Yes.
He talked about having obtained bail several times, but that
it is not true. I have spoken on this previously.
The bail conditions have refused to be honored.
No, it's not true. He got bail. He was first charged for unlawful possession of firearms, and he got bail. But before those bail conditions were perfected, he was arrested for another offense. That cancels the bail. We went to court, arguments were canvassed, and they overruled him. His lawyers that the federal government was not in contempt of court. I have spoken on this previously. It is media propaganda. These people have a lot of money. When the government wants to act, they carry out a lot of media propaganda to misinform Nigerians. The federal government is not in disobedience of any court order concerning the former National Security Advisor, Dasuki.
Okay. Is there a reason why the judges were arrested in the middle of the night?
Well, if you look at Section 148 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, it says a search warrant can be issued and executed any day, including Sunday and public holiday. So why not?
Any day, any time?
Look at the law now. 148 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 is there.
Right.
People just go and make noise without even reading the law.
Okay,
so somebody was citing the old Criminal Procedure Act.
We'll be back in just a moment, Mr. Obla.
Which is no longer applicable.
Join us again.